Hey, Jonathan, you're our first one. Hello. Oh, actually, I take that back. Avengers fan, you're the first one. You guys beat the other panelists. I haven't even invited them yet. Let me add the others.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh. Okay, we're live again. All right.
Okay, who am I missing that was on the going to be on the show? I sent one.
Hey, you're missing
Hey,
JR.
there's Peter. There's Peter.
Okay.
Sent it to
You're missing
JR.
JR.
Javi.
Javi's going to be okay. I think also I think Neil was going to be on board, wasn't he?
Neil wanted to be on. That's who I haven't sent one to.
Okay.
Let me send one to Neil.
Yeah. All right.
And I sent one to Zach.
Oh yeah, because he would be.
He wanted
back
to be
from
on
his.
too.
Yeah.
And should I send one to George? It'd be funny to see if he hops in.
Yeah.
I thought he was on that last podcast.
You won.
Who?
George.
Oh yeah, George was on that last podcast.
Oh yeah. That right.
If you didn't have the video, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh,
okay.
He's going.
So we'll wait for. Oh, there's JR.
JR's here.
There's Javi and Neil's back.
Yeah.
There you are. Let's see how many people are watching.
30 minutes maybe of battery life left. So if I disappear from the show, that's what happened.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
Oh, because you're on your laptop doing that thing. Yeah.
No, I'm on my iPhone.
Oh,
yeah.
your iPhone doing that.
Don't you have a charger nearby?
Well, I do, but it's an iPhone X and it's got that stupid lightning port. So I can either plug in headphones or I can charge it.
Oh,
wow.
Dumb.
Yeah.
That's a terrible design.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah. I mean, but especially since also, I mean, yeah, because I mean, I try to, with my thing, I try to keep mine charged like above 60% all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, but yeah, rarely do I, but.
Okay, refresh me who's doing 23 and who's doing 24. I forget.
I've got 23.
Okay, so let's. All right, sounds good. All right, coming down. Let me get the YouTube chat up so I can read them as they come in. By the way, this Google Hangouts thing is ending August 1, it said. So, yeah. Chat is disabled for this. Oh, nope. Wrong feed.
Okay.
So, do you guys know of an alternative how I can get all of your webcams?
You know what? I've got an idea, maybe.
Twitch is what you said?
Well, not Twitch. I know a friend who is good at OBS, which is a broadcasting thing.
No, I use OBS at work, but I don't know how to get everybody's webcams.
We could do Discord video calls.
Okay.
Oh, we can't. Oh, Discord does. Yeah, I think Discord does.
Yeah, if we put ourselves in a private call, then we can.
Can you send that signal out to YouTube?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Well,
yeah.
We'll have to test that between now and then.
Okay.
Okay, coming down 3, 2. Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our review show. We're going to review 2 books, Amazing Spider-Man number 824 and 825. They're right here. Let's introduce the panel. We've got Neil. What's going on, Neil?
Well, it's 10:15 I didn't get a sandwich, so I'm hungry and I'm sad.
All right. What's going on, Mike?
Oh, besides my big giant head, Joy is filling up the screen here as I look through our wonderful 12 viewers watching on the YouTube chat.
Our audio listeners can't see that giant head, but they know it's there.
The supreme intelligence.
We have JR.
Yes.
What's going on, JR?
A little tired. Expended a lot of energy that last show, but so I'm just going to take it easy.
There you go.
This time around.
We have Javi. What's going on, Javi? Welcome to
Hey.
the show.
I forgot to mention this last episode, and I'll show it for our YouTube listeners right now. I purchased the Alamo's Far From Home Spider-Man pint glass.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
So it's got everything but the homemade suit on it, and then I also got the pin of
Oh, you got
whatever
a
the
pin?
new suit is called as well.
That's
Oh,
cool.
So
Would you like a
cereal?
pint?
But
Did you? They were selling popcorn buckets with Far From Home on it. I didn't get the upgrade, but we also have Peter. What's going on, Peter?
Not much.
How are you, sir? We just did a. Have you seen Far From Home yet?
No.
Gonna see it anytime soon, huh? Are you gonna see it when it streams or something? Is that when you're
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
see
probably. If
On-
if
on
I'm
Disney
bored
Plus?
and there's nothing else better going on
it? Yeah.
TV, I might watch it.
All right, Javi is leading us off with the review. Take me through it, Javi.
all right, so we've got Amazing Spider-Man 23, or as us old timers like to call it, Amazing Spider-Man 824.
Yeah.
So the issue opens up with a sense of deja vu as it's raining at stately Craven Manor,
Mhm.
and someone's being buried in a black Spider-Man suit. But this time it's Papa Craven himself. He's dead yet again after the conclusion to Hunted. So the now deceased Craven's favorite bag of flour runs into the mansion, strips down, and starts wrecking things just like his old man did in Craven's Last Hunt.
As you do.
As you do. So we cut to our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's leaving the rest of New York's heroes to handle all the escaped criminals in Central Park, and he rushes to MJ's rescue like he should, afraid that his vision of her is true and that she's dead. So as Spidey's racing across town, the Vulture, in custody with a bunch of the other villains, forms the Savage Six because that's Marvel's alliterative theme for the month, and Sinister Six was taken. Taskmaster rescues Blank Ant from a whooping because other villains were ganging up on him, and maybe promises him a cameo in the Black Widow movie to make up for his betrayal. But we still got to work that out. Felicia returns the Lizard's junior-sized bag of flour home, and a colony of vermins are stalking the subways. So Peter finally gets back home, and he finds the broken glass like he did in his vision, blood on the floor, and he's fearing the worst. But a very much alive MJ lets out a scream as she sees the black-suited Spider-Man. So seeing that she's okay and only injured in a domestic laundry incident, he starts to break down and cry, and Marvel's best couple embraces.
Yeah.
And then the evil centipede evilly monologues from the window. Elsewhere, Craven's bag of flour has switched from raging to drinking, and he notices a note behind his papa's favorite rifle. So in that note, his dad has proclaimed him flour no more, and he is the new And then in true MCU fashion, we get a post-credit scene with the chameleon revealing that he's been there all along, and he will get his revenge.
Yep.
Wah, ha ha ha.
Yay.
Yeah.
Nice recap. Very nice.
Yeah, very good.
Very concise.
So let's go around the horn. Javi, what would your grade be?
Not. I'm gonna give it an A.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm giving it an A.
Let's see. Peter, what's your grade?
Hey,
JR.
I'll give it a B.
Mike.
I'm giving it a B as well.
Neil.
A.
A out of me. I liked it also.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'm looking at the art right now. I thought he had a tattoo, but I guess I missed
No,
the
it's
part.
I thought that
it's body-
too.
tribal
body
paint.
paint.
It's body paint. I thought it was all
Body
like
paint,
tattooed
yeah.
on there as well. It's like
Yeah.
but nope.
No. So let's hear the pros out of Javi.
not to steal any thunder from Peter, but when Spidey comes home and finds MJ, and the way that Otley just sells his expression, and the tears well up in his eyes, and then because she's mad that he's in the black suit because she's told
Exactly.
him before from the Venom storyline how much she hates that.
Renew your
But once-
vows. Forgot that.
Yeah, once she sees how distraught he is and relieved that she's okay, I mean, she just holds him. They both embrace each other, and that made just about everything worth it right there for this whole good but drawn out, way too long story to finally see them together again and the impact it had on them.
Some other pros. Let's hear it.
Taskmaster,
Go ahead.
Taskmaster Black Ant. Taskmaster Black Ant. best bromance lives to fight another day.
Would you read a miniseries by them?
Oh yeah, if Spencer was writing it, oh yeah, I would totally read that.
Yeah. Mike, go ahead. Pros out of you.
I actually liked. I actually kind of liked. I mean, this was very much kind of like setting the stage for future stories, and I like kind of some of the stuff what's being teased here. Like you got this idea of like that we have a whole, basically, gaggle of ravens basically down. I mean, so it's a mixture of like there's a kind of a horror thing with that whole pack of ravens like down in the sewers, or then you've also got vermin. Excuse me. The vermin pack or whatever it is, I guess we're saying. The idea of how Spencer was able to kind of balance kind of some of the more comedic and basically like and the more dramatic stuff, like that scene with MJ. I mean, the idea is like, oh my gosh, he gets home and you find out, oh no, he just cut her arm with some glasses to fake out. But then the emotion that's involved with it with Pierce is so like Javi was saying, is like this issue kind of does a really nice mixture of Spencer kind of able to balance those moments very well. Like it doesn't seem to be like under other circumstances, it'd be kind of a weird tonal shift if you suddenly jump from something haha to something tear and everything like. But no, he does a very exceptional job in doing that. And I thought that was in terms of this in terms of like setting up future plots, I thought that this issue did exactly what it was supposed to accomplish in that regard.
Yeah. It's continuing Spencer's run of fixing things Slott broke. He put Craven back in the ground.
Well, that's not. Was that something? I think that was a Joe Kelly, wasn't it?
It's things that big Brand New Day or big
I'm going to get into that. I'm actually going to get into that in my con section. So
really? You wanted Craven back alive?
No. It's different. It's a different thing. Okay. Slightly different.
I'm okay with this Craven. He needs a name, but I guess he's Craven the Hunter. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. He can be. In effect, he more or less is Craven. He was taught by Craven to be Craven, and so it allows the original to be respected and put back into the ground. But it also lets writers who don't care about continuity to have their Craven and do what they want with him. Yeah.
Other pros. What else we got?
It's a little bit. It's mainly a pro, but it comes with a bit of a con. I thought the artwork was really stellar, and I liked the parallels with Craven's Last Hunt.
Yeah.
I know JR is not a big fan of that story, but that had a profound impact on me as a kid because I was 10, JR. I was 10. It blew my mind.
Okay.
JR was 40.
So I liked seeing the parallels that he was bringing back again. And I appreciate what he was trying to do with it. But at the same time, one of the things that for me works so well with Craven's Last Hunt is the consistent art by Mike Zeck. And over the course of how many issues now, we've bounced through
a bunch of
many different artists. So as a whole, it doesn't hold up as well for me. It doesn't reach the level of
Craven's Last Hunt was 6 parts.
Yeah.
This doesn't have the 60 parts or whatever.
11.
Well, it's 11. 6 parts plus with all those little tie-in things too, which makes it feel the issues, which makes it feel longer.
Having Otley back, at least it brought a great pencil to the table to close it out. Yep. I really like his black costume Spider-Man.
Yeah. Other pros. What else did we like about it?
I like the chameleon coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that
that was
sets
good.
up a lot of suspense. Because I thought he was dead.
And it caught me off guard.
Yeah,
Like
it did.
I didn't expect to see it, and when it revealed himself as a chameleon, I'm like, oh god, I didn't see that coming. That was clever.
Plus, it's a great callback to Amazing Spider-Man 375. Because remember, if anyone remembers, I think that's the issue number, correct issue number, where you have that kind of like that backup story involving the chameleon,
I forgot
where
what
he's
the
by
back,
where he's by Craven's graveside and says, "Oh, I'm going to avenge your death," and then which of course led to the robot parent storyline, which kind of like, which is, but
with
so hopefully
375,
this-
I remember the handshake of Venom and Spidey. I don't remember the chameleon at all.
yeah, there was it has a backup thing, and that's what eventually it's supposed to be the whole thing where kind of the hint that this chameleon was behind the whole robot parents thing coming up and everything like this.
I
So
thought
that's
that
why-
was Harry Osborn.
no. Well, Chameleon and Harry Osborn were in cahoots.
Yeah.
to
Oh,
work
that's
behind
right.
that whole
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
'Cause after, was it Life Theft or was it Pursuit?
I think it was life.
Oh,
Where
I
he
think it was
defeats
Life Theft.
Chameleon, and then you find out that it's Harry at the end with the gotcha.
That's in
Zach
Pursuit.
would know. Zach would know how to figure this out.
Yeah.
Life theft is the end
The
of
Vulture
Robot
one.
Parents,
Right.
and then
okay.
Pursuit is where he goes after the chameleon and then find out that Harry was the one who basically financed and
Right.
gave him the idea. So
Right.
Mhm.
Other pros before we move on to cons.
I have a small one. It's not really part of the story itself, but more the stuff behind the scenes.
Okay.
This page that says thank you J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck for
DeMatteis. Yep.
DeMatteis.
DeMatteis,
And
yeah.
it says a lot about Spencer's character, that he's not going to like say, "Oh, my take on Craven is superior to DeMatteis."
You just
It-
used
it-
the word
it-
superior. I see what you did there.
It tells us that he is willing to accept, "Oh, I might not be the best Craven storyteller, but I'm going to at least try my best." It shows a lot of character that he's willing to admit when he's come in second, and I don't think there's any shame in being second to Craven's Last Hunt. If anything, that's a pretty high esteem to be
Best-
held in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he tried to write a Craven's Last Hunt thing. He's just trying to pay homage to the story. I mean,
It's a
obviously
love letter
so,
to
and everything.
the-
Yeah.
It's
mhm.
a love letter. That's all.
Oh,
Peter, we haven't
absolutely.
heard
Yeah.
some pros out of you. What's some pros?
Well, the chameleon was one of them, and
Oh, that's right.
and then like Javi said, and you didn't steal any thunder because you said it point, right on the spot. Just it's referring back to number 1, where Peter says, he needs Mary Jane to do this right, and seeing the emotion in his eyes, like oh, she's okay, but he was really worried, and we'll get into the next issue about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Spencer's still sticking with that, and that's what I love. I mean, he's still sticking with the plots and the storylines that he set up from the very beginning. I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're ready to move on to
No,
cons.
I want to. I
ahead,
want to
Jared.
jump in. No, I want to jump in and say that a big pro. I mean, one, this is kind of overall kind of really it was a prologue, so it was kind of a bore. But I like the fact that Spencer returned Craven to the grave
Mhm.
because, I mean, characters come back from the dead all the time. But the thing is, Craven was thoroughly despondent and took his own life. Dr. Octopus died because in something stupid. So yeah, I didn't mind him being brought back by mystical ninjas because killing him off was stupid. Same with Mysterio. Killing Mysterio off was stupid. So whatever they come up with is fine. Norman died in a great story theoretically, but he came back through pseudo science fiction. But this was I really felt bringing Craven back was wrong because I mean this was just the nature of the way the
Totally
character
agree.
the way the character went out, and when he comes back from, and this is, I mean, and I guess really, I mean, it kind of was acknowledged that his family did him a disservice by bringing him back. I mean, his state of mind is not going to change, and so, I mean, I think and obviously in this story, it pretty well shows that it didn't, that he knows he knows he should be dead. He doesn't belong in the land of the living anymore. He should be dead. And I like I said, I give Spencer credit for putting that genie back in the bottle, but also coming up with a way of bringing Craven back if you want to use the character, a clone.
JR,
know,
I would
I mean-
argue Craven's death is as good as Norman's death. I think they're about equal.
Mhm.
Why? Is it because of your attachment to Norman that you don't object so much to Norman coming back?
Well, of course. I mean, of course. I mean, it was just.
I remember I was a bit ticked off because
Well-
it made ASM 122 less of a comic.
Yeah, and I understand that argument. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, what had happened was the Clone Saga had become such a cluster F.
Yeah.
That and see, Zach's not here, so we can say that. And I didn't say the rest of it. I left off the last 3 letters. Okay.
And Vanna White came in my brain and turned the other 3 over. Is what she
No,
did.
no,
but
demon-
the thing is, with
demonetizing.
the way the Clone Saga had gone, it was almost, well, who could be responsible for this?
Facade.
So in a way,
The
bringing
return, Norman's return was much better than Craven's return.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
I'll
and
give you
again,
that.
Norman didn't kill himself. I mean, in a way, Norman died logically. He killed Gwen, and then he died, and it's kind of, but even Roy Thomas made the comment of saying, that, he didn't agree with the death of the Green Goblin. I think it was Roy Thomas that said that. He said that it made it for a good story, but then you can't use the Green Goblin again. You can't use Norman Osborn again if you do that. But again, it was Norman's return, quote unquote, made pseudoscience comic book sense.
Yeah.
And Mysterio's and Doc Ock's deaths were just so stupid to have allowed that to happen, either one of those to happen, that I didn't care how they got brought back or if there was even an explanation. But no, Craven, I mean, that was a pretty serious thing, literally. I mean, he committed suicide. To bring him back, that just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that was his only cool story. Really, he was kind of I know that everybody, but think of what Craven had been before that. I mean, he'd been appearing in Marvel Chillers or whatever. I mean, he wasn't really considered a great villain until he killed himself.
Craven
Yeah.
has the same
True.
problem Gwen Stacy does. Their deaths are better than their previous issues.
They're better
Yeah.
off dead. It's
Very
almost like Craven being dead is more effective than Craven being alive. So, but again, not to repeat, but I did like the Peter MJ scene because, it's not oversold, but Peter just has been through so much emotion. He just breaks down. I mean, and I think we've all been through that, where we've been through something, we've kept on a brave face, we've been strong or whatever. And then all of a sudden we just lose it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so that was, I thought that was a fairly effective scene as well.
Any other comments before we move on to 825?
There are 2 jokes that got me like a visible laugh. The first was the Weekend Warriors taking off their headsets, and one of them goes, "I want a refund," and one guy goes, "A refund? Bob's dead. Then he should get a refund too." And then you got Captain America coming and talking about gaming laws, and then when Black Ant is surrounded by the menagerie, Toad goes, "Wear his skin," and then the Human Fly goes, "Let's not get that weird."
I do want to mention, I think if we're going to briefly, as to it's my con about the whole Craven thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally agree with JR that Craven the Hunter is better off dead. He should never have been brought back. My problem is when they turned Craven Jr. into essentially Craven. I mean, they made him cut his hair. He's now dressed in the same Craven costumes.
Looks
He
just
had
like
a very, I mean, yeah. And it's like, and to me, when I saw that, I'm like, then what was the point? You just basically killed off Craven, and now he's technically back, but not really. He had I mean, the thing is, I actually liked the look that his quote unquote son clone thing had, and to try to basically sort of, we're going to sort of bring him back as his clone dressed in that thing. It kind of diminished the whole purpose of this arc a little bit.
Hopefully his next appearance, it makes his character develop a little bit more, so he's not such like his daddy.
Because we could get in a situation here where you basically in the next, if Craven's son appears and people haven't read this arc, they're going to think that Craven's still alive, and then they're going to have to hear all this backstory and stuff.
Right.
Or it could be like another thing where we get another round of Elisha Cravens or Grim Hunter and all that other stuff which had before. I hope it doesn't get into that thing. I think this so potentially I was thought that was a little bit worrisome. Or the end, like, oh, he just looks like Craven, or in this case, he kind of like the way Otley draws him kind of like Freddie Mercury. But then again, that's how Otley kind of usually draws guys with mustaches. No offense to Otley because he's a great artist, but So
moving on. Go ahead, Neil.
I just want to make sure I understand your argument because I'm fairly sure I understand it, but I think your argument isn't necessarily what they did with Craven in this specific storyline, or it might be, but more the ramifications of what just making another Craven does for future storylines.
It's the ramifications of trying to turn Craven's son clone into Craven.
I feel
like literally looks like exactly like him because he's a younger version of
I
the thing.
feel like that was intentional on Spencer and Otley's part because again, it's a way for writers who don't really pay attention to continuity or are on like C-list books to have their cake and eat it too. Because like, oh, isn't Craven dead? No, here's his clone who looks exactly like
but that's kind of what I have the problem with the thing. Is it kind of like it's trying to have its cake and eat it too a little bit with this, and I think it's because you either just keep Craven dead and have his son basically like with the whole because make him look distinctive rather than trying to make him look exactly like his dad.
You wish those were tats and not just body paint.
Yeah, I figure he should just. Yeah, he made him like kind of lose his identity as a result, I think, a little bit.
So moving on to 825, I decided to give this to Peter because the opening scene is Peter and Mary Jane are making out. Who better to do commentary than Peter, who loves Mary Jane more than Peter Parker? Go ahead.
Really? I mean, do I come out with that impression that I am obsessed with
that
character? A little bit?
Big
no way.
Best friends with the redhead. Go ahead.
All right. Well, 825 is written by Spencer, covered by Ryan Otley. So it's good to see him back. And like Brad said, we start off with a little bit of Peter and MJ making out like two horny teenagers after prom at a Manhattan landscape called The Vessel, I believe.
That's what it's called.
It's a waste of Manhattan real estate.
It looks like an upside down.
It really is.
It looks like an upside down pine cone. I don't know.
By the way, The Vessel is not actually its official name. That's just like a placeholder. They don't know exactly what to call it yet.
I thought they called it Hive or something like that.
Yeah, that was one of the things they were tossing around. Like that's a possible name that they're going to name it.
That's in the middle of like this huge multi-billion-dollar development at the old Hudson rail yard.
Yep.
So
the point is that Spider-Man and Mary Jane are making out in it. So it really doesn't matter.
So we take a way to get back on track, Peter. Go ahead.
So they're getting they're getting their groove on. He's getting his mojo back, but he's a little distracted because of all the things that happened in The Hunted. But he's really distracted about the images that he was having with Mary Jane being hurt and possibly killed. They're a security guard ruins that mojo, and they swing away. And then we catch up to Mysterio having a therapy session with his new psychiatrist in full costume, I might add. I mean, he's in his green leotard, fishbowl.
That's pretty comfy, actually. Just the therapists indulge in the supervillains and let them wear their costumes. I like that.
Well, it could be
that's how they do
else.
Things at Ravencroft. Sure, why not? So basically, the whole thing is about Mysterio telling that he's been tortured by this demon-like creature, and the therapist is still trying to figure out, that he didn't actually die. It's all inside of his head. All these things that are happening, all these illusions, all these tricks that are played on his victims were actually, playing with his mind too. So he didn't actually die. There's some
so that's
great
nice little retcon of Kevin Smith's issue.
Yep, they got Kevin Smith, Daredevil story arc in there. Just a little continuity that Nick Spencer seems to be doing really well with.
Clean it up, baby. Clean it up.
And then we got to a scene where Peter can't sleep, even though a beautiful redhead is laying right next to him. I mean, sure, I can get that, but he's really having a hard time with the images that he's been seeing, and also someone else that he's been seeing as well. We're just going to call him Scented Demon for now.
Until the last page.
Yeah. We'll get there. So, so we cut back to the psychiatrist talking to Mysterio and saying that it's all in your head, and what you really need to do is this demon creature. You need to say his name just to confront your fears and
Say my
get back
name.
to
Say my name.
exactly get back to your sane self. And Mysterio doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to say his name and doesn't want to talk about it. The psychiatrist keeps on, pressuring on, like, so.
Because as we learned from Beetlejuice, when you say the name at least 3 times, they appear.
Oh no!
Sent a demon, sent a demon, sent a demon. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it could be like Candyman too. You don't want to say that.
Oh, does Candyman do that too? I don't know.
Don't look in the mirror.
5
and say
times.
his name. Yeah, you got to look in the mirror though, don't you?
Yeah.
For that one.
Yes, you do. That's true.
Anyway,
All right.
so we all fall down with the sent a demon coming through.
So basically, Mysterio's not budging. He's not, taking about anything. He doesn't want to talk about this whatnot. So the psychiatrist kind of gives up. He's like, "Fine, tell me about your mom. Maybe it's something going on with your mom.
That's very Freudish.
Yeah.
Tell me
Whatever.
about your mother."
Did you have feelings for her?
Exactly. But no. Right when he says that, once he messages his mother. A whole bunch of centipedes and rats come out, and then he makes his appearance.
By the way, that panel looks very Doc Ock-ish, doesn't it?
Oh, little. Oh, I'm not even there yet.
Which
I thought
one?
she busted through the door.
No, not yet.
Okay,
the psychiatrist sees what's going on and starts to believe that Mysterio was telling the truth, that he did die, and then Demon brought him back. So he just leaves. He just leaves Mysterio and then Son of Demon comes through, busting out.
Bet
Hey,
you that
check
guy
out my
still got.
tech
I bet
move.
Mysterio still got billed. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So Son of Demon comes by and
Doesn't that look Doc Ock-ish?
Yeah, he comes out like this
Mhm.
to check out my superior
Tentacles?
Spider-Man thing. But then he says he's not there to kill him. He's this to apologize. Keeping secrets might actually, help you. I'm sorry, I can't talk. It will make you lose your mind, and that's a clue that I'm going to lean on to who this Sent a Demon really is.
Okay.
But actually, it's really there to kill Mysterio, and throughout all of this, after he, completely, destroys Mysterio, slaughters him like mass murder, he goes on to say that Peter's watching this in his dream the entire time.
Yeah.
That Peter's watching this whole murder. He wakes up screaming. Mary Jane's right there trying to comfort him, and we find out that this demon's name is actually Kindred, as in kindred spirits.
There you
And
go.
we conclude with that.
And we have a final page for Ultimate Carnage or
There's
Maximum.
a pigeon turns into a symbiote or something like that.
Yeah, Parrot
Yeah.
turns into a symbiote. Okay, grade.
Next time,
Grade.
$7.99.
Peter, what's your grade?
This gets an A+ for me.
Okay, oh, awesome.
I
Javi, grade.
Another A.
JR. You're muted, JR.
Sorry,
There.
I didn't make anybody hear me crunching on my ice and my Mountain Dew. I gave this one a C.
A C. Ooh.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah. I mean,
Okay, hold on. I'll get to you. I'll get to you. Hold on.
yeah,
Mike, grade.
B+.
Neil,
A+.
A+. All right. A out of me. Peter, let's hear your pros.
Well, the pros is that Spencer's doing a really good job with continuity with Mysterio.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff did happen. This is not a recon. This is the stuff that's going on. Of course, the Peter and Mary Jane stuff is there, which really is shining through. I'm a big fan of that, in case
Right.
any of you did not know that. Ryan Otley, he's back, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
can
Looking
see
good.
that his
Looking
art is just cleaned up since issue 1 through 5.
I agree.
I don't know if he takes
He's
his
getting his
criticism.
spider groove.
Yeah, he really is, and he's just doing a really good job. And just like the interaction, the characterizations of all these characters, even this new therapist, is just really fun to read, and I'm enjoying a lot of it.
One of my biggest pros was that whole sequence was a Peter dream.
Mhm.
I didn't see that
Yeah.
coming. I thought that was a very nice twist. I thought
Right.
that was really
So
good.
you can count on Mysterio not being dead.
Oh, yeah.
in this
Oh,
issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
The other
Actually,
thing.
I
Yeah,
would
go ahead,
dis-
Neil.
I would disagree with that just because one, or not. This is the only point, but Mysterio not dying kind of takes away from Kindred's menace, because if he's like this all-powerful demon man that we've kind of predicted him to be, then him not being able to figure out his Mysterio, it is kind of a letdown, if you ask me.
I think it shows that he has more of a power like Nightmare. He can go in Spider-Man's dreams and give him a nightmare.
Yeah, and that's what kind of completely threw me off of like who this Kindred guy could be too. I mean, there's possibilities. But the thing is, what I really liked about this, about that whole psychiatrist thing, one was the way the whole thing is set up. I mean, if for any of you budding comic book artists are out there, look at this issue, because this is a prime example of how to do use inking to set up a mood. Because you notice the whole thing. I mean, he plays. I forgot who the inker on this thing. I wish I, collected on this thing.
It's Mark Morales and
no relation to Miles.
No,
it's Mark Morales and Cliff Rathburn.
Do you say that the inks got darker? Is that what you're saying?
No, because the way here's the thing. I was taught years ago about like by an art instructor, like the way you really show shadows, you have to contrast it with sharp lights. So light against dark, and the way the Watley and Rathburn and everybody, they compose these scenes, especially that one opening scene with the psychiatrist thing, you really get this very strong like inks and stuff like the shadows of the psychiatrist's face to make him seem more mysterious. Whereas everything else is like you see the spotlight on Mysterio. So it kind of sets this idea that there's this kind of like almost this kind of a creepy, kind of like sense of foreboding. And the fact is that Spencer so cleverly kind of makes you think that the psychiatrist is actually Kindred. He's totally setting that. I mean, he's totally setting that up to make you think that this is who
the whole time for the psychiatrist. JR, I was thinking Bart Hamilton.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was thinking.
I can see him seething.
I was thinking actually Ludwig Reinhardt, one of Mysterio's IDs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
By the way, here's to test your guys' knowledge. I'm sure, especially JR. This is not the only Amazing Spider-Man 24 where we had Mysterio involved with a psychiatrist.
Oh, the Ditko, where he's going crazy in the psychiatrist.
Where Mysterio
That's a nice little
pretended to be a psychiatrist to try to trick Spider-Man into he was
pretty
mad.
Good.
And now we've got a reversal of that.
I didn't think of that. That's pretty good.
And I love the way that when the psychiatrist sees Kindred in there, he's basically says, well, as you all know, that the psychiatry isn't exact science. And he just kind of like leaves.
That was pretty good.
Was great. Yeah,
I like how this issue was kind of, it's a filler for number 25 that's coming up, but it's also gets you really excited for number 25.
It does.
Right.
It does.
Not a lot happens, but at the same time, a lot of stuff happens.
So there's another panel where he's using those centipedes, like Doc Ock's arms, where he kills Mysterio.
Yeah.
That's very implied Doc Ock.
That's very.
I think that's actually meant to throw us off.
Okay.
Because for one thing, we've on the Discord, we've got like a potential list of candidates, and none of them have like the magic. It fills every single category, and it's like certain ones fill out certain qualifications for who this character is. My personal running theory is that like he's an amalgam of all the people that Peter has indirectly affected, or it could be like pre-One More Day Peter. But the point is that Spencer does a very good job of not only slow burning Kindred, but also kind of making us aware of just how powerful he is.
If you look at it, the homage to Doc Ock, he's got 3 centipedes going after him.
Iron Spider.
And Iron Spider has 3. So that's a little homage.
Let's look at the panel where it says, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I was going to say that Adam Winchell made a very interesting point. He's wondering because he's thinking, what if Kindred is Ashley Kafka? Kafka being reference to
who Spider-Man
Franz
is?
Kafka, Kafka is a reference to Franz Kafka, who wrote the Metamorphosis, which is about a guy who turns into a bug. And the fact that Kindred is using centipedes.
What book is that?
That's Ashley Kafka is named after the author Franz Kafka. Franz Kafka wrote The Metamorphosis, and The Metamorphosis is a story about a man who wakes up as an insect. And what do we see Kindred doing? He's using insects and bugs and everything
there is a real life Kafka, and that's what the homage is from Spencer?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little literary thing, but just gonna throw out there. So
a little small pro that I had was the flashback to was it Web Spinners? Is that what it was called? where
Yeah.
it had Mysterio and the Spider Devil and J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Like that felt to me like a really deep cut. And the fact that
Mhm.
Spencer knows all this stuff, he's respectful of all the canon that came before. I was saying in the chat roll that, once he finally sadly leaves us, he needs to either be the new Spidey editor or like a Spidey continuity cop going forward. Because I mean, he really, really knows his stuff.
He knows his
and
deep
it's
cuts.
evident. Yeah.
So
I
Brad,
like that.
you were saying that Kindred might be Doc Ock, right?
I suspect it might. It has. If Spencer's on a cleanup tour, it seems like that moment where they swap brains has something to do with this character.
We've
I'm
already
glad you brought that
the,
up.
the
because
Discord debunked
Yeah.
that.
if you see in the panel where he actually states that, and I can see that it would make you wonder if you were losing your mind.
Yeah, that's
That's a big clue right there. That could be
You're right.
something,
Mm.
either Doc Ock, or that could actually be Harry Osborn.
I think Mark proposed that, and
Yeah,
like
I'm
three
starting to
one
see
more
that too.
day.
Because Harry kind of lost his mind when he was the Green Goblin. Free one more
But
day.
but if it's a dream, though, we got to think of like, okay, so this is a person, whoever this guy is. I mean, I don't know if we're. I mean, obviously, when we're supposed to like allude to this guy's being like an actual demon, but if it's just a dude that Spider-Man kind of knows, or whatever this, how is this guy's projecting his thoughts into his dreams? That's the other weird. That's the thing that kind of.
I
throws me off.
really
Like,
think it's a piece of Peter. I really think.
oh, wait a minute. You know what would be really weird? What if it's Mind Worm?
Oh, deep cut.
Shazam, Mike.
Talk about deep cuts. I hope the YouTube chat got that one. Oh
Shazam.
my gosh.
different pro from me. I appreciate that Spencer is pointing out that Hunted isn't just being like swept away now that it's over. It's still lingering in the back of Peter's mind. And that's probably going to haunt him for some time now. I'm glad that Spencer isn't just kind of hand waving it away and saying, "Oh, haha, I guess I tangled with Craven in the woods for a bit. Bears do that." He actually has it like haunting him, and Peter's still anxious about what's going. It's even impacting his relationship with not necessarily impacting, but MJ's noticing it, and I'm glad that he's not just hand waving it away.
JR, you had the lowest grade. You had to have some pros out of it.
Well, yeah, I did.
Okay.
For one, I'm glad to see the story moving along. We're finally starting to wrap up what we started in issue 1, although I kind of figured it was going to be time to this because of Mysterio being in the movie. I'm genuinely interested in who Kindred is. I mean, sometimes, you go through a mystery and it's like, I don't care. No, I'm genuinely, Kindred is a genuinely interesting character.
Yeah.
And I also like that Spencer is addressing the Mysterio suicide head on. No pun intended. No, I mean, it's just, I see the story moving. I'm interested in how number 25 is going to resolve itself.
It sounds like you're coming around to Spencer. You weren't liking
Well,
the artist named after your own son earlier.
I was about to say, Lord knows, I don't go back and listen to a lot of their podcasts because I can't stand the sight of me or the sound of my own voice. So there's no telling what I said. I think I appreciated what he was doing, but I've just about had it with Marvel. And I don't know. I guess I genuinely appreciate what he was doing, but I just didn't think the stories were that interesting.
Right.
More or
Okay,
less.
keeping with JR, we're moving on to cons. I want to hear JR's biggest problem with the issue.
Well, the big problem to me is the Mysterio. I mean, the Mysterio psychiatrist scene is 10 pages long. That is just too long, too much. I mean, I think it could have been done shorter and it could have been more meaningful, but it just keeps getting drawn out. And to me, it just brings the whole issue kind of thudding. And that was my
But it had a nice twist at the end.
Well,
it was inside Peter's brain.
But it was too long coming. I mean, I like the idea of Mysterio on the couch in his costume. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't actually. The thing is, it bugged me, and I know why it was done because, if it had just been Mysterio's globe, you can't convey emotion with just the
Mhm.
globe. But seeing Mysterio's face in the globe just bugged me. But and then like the first page when we see Peter, I mean, for some reason it looks like he's got buck teeth, and that kind of, But no, that was my primary gripe, was that just the middle was just too laden.
Too much setup for the next issue, huh?
Yeah, well, it was too long, and you kind of are saying variations of the same thing. Say his name, no, say his name, no, say his name, no.
Okay. Cons out of the rest of you.
I think my biggest con is an issue that Mike had with issue 24, and that's the long-term ramifications of Kindred in this case. Spencer has done a fantastic job setting up this centipede worm villain, and the problem is that he's done such a good job that I don't know if any answer will be satisfying. Like, he's set himself such a high bar. And this is not meant to knock Spencer for the quality of his writing. He's done a fantastic job setting this villain up and establishing him in all these different plot points. But he set himself such a high bar that any reveal of who it is, no matter who it is or what it is, it's going to inevitably be less impactful than we wanted it to be.
It's almost as if the mystery of the character is more entertaining.
I don't know. I think Spencer can deliver this one.
I'm not saying he can't deliver, but I'm just saying he set himself up to the point where, like, no matter what, there will be some kind of twinge of could have been better, because the hype has been built up so much that inevitably he's going to hurt.
Yeah, there's got to be a thing about Kindred here that is, I mean, there's a connection here with Spider-Man, and like, depending on who this Kindred really is, it could, like, I think Neil's kind of got a point. Yeah. It can either be like, oh my gosh, something we didn't see coming, or it could be one of these really, if it turns out to be some really obscure, like, character we had no idea, like, who it is. Like, if they, like, it's similar to say something like what happened with Venom, like when Venom reveals himself to be Eddie Brock, and Spider-Man's like, oh, it's Eddie Brock, and none of the readers,
that was
we never heard, we never heard of this Eddie Brock guy before.
This one has a better build-up than Eddie Brock.
Oh, absolutely, it does. Yeah. My main con with this thing is I feel like it's kind of similar to JR's point. This kind of felt too much like an appetizer. And I wanted to kind of get the main meal here. I'm kind of
you're going to pay $7.99. You're going to pay $7.99 for that main meal next month.
Yeah, got 2 more days. Got a couple more days until the thing comes out. But man, it was just like, this was like, you're thinking to myself, why am I getting this appetizer? Why are we getting all this Mysterio backstory stuff? Why can't we get into this? We want to get into the Kindred thing.
Felt like Spencer. It felt like Spencer kind of flexing his Mysterio now. It's a weird flex, but okay.
Question for you: I don't think a newly created villain has stuck around since Carnage, and that was in 1992. Can you guys name a new villain that has stuck around for decades?
The only one,
Morlun.
For decades.
Morlun.
Morlun, unfortunately, yeah.
Morlun. I can't name another one though.
The only one that's probably the closest one was probably Mr. Negative.
That's what I was going to say.
But not for decades. He's only been around for like the past 10 years.
Not necessarily in terms of popularity, but Screwball's kind of stuck around Spider-Man.
No.
I don't know.
Again,
not in the video game. She's in the PS4
popularity,
one,
but more not necessarily out of being a popular character, but she's still been here.
It would be neat if Kindred is such a cool reveal, and boy, do we have high hopes. It sounds like.
Yeah.
That he will stick around.
Here's the thing.
Or she. We don't. I don't.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't.
Mark and I actually made a point about that, like the solicitation. What Marvel says, like, who is he?
Okay, there you go.
So they did establish that it is a male character, but that could be a misdirection.
That could be,
What would you guys prefer? And by the way, we lost Javi. His battery died. So thank you, Javi,
Rip
for being on the show. Real quick, what would be a more enjoyable outcome if this fixes One More Day? If it fixes Harry Osborn? Or if it's something else, what would you guys prefer?
Fix One More Day, but here's the thing: is that you can't necessarily fix One More Day in terms of like just saying, "Oh, just erasing everything. The problem is that 10 plus years have gone by outside of just Spider-Man, that changing up the post One More Day continuity would be catastrophically different from the rest of the MU. So
I would want. I think on his fixing tour, I think One More Day is on Spencer's to-do list, and I think this might be it.
again, I don't.
I think the thing is though with Kindred, if this is his solution for fixing One More Day, it seems like too obvious in a way, because that's what we're supposed to, as readers, we're supposed to meant to think that Kindred is, oh, that's how he's going, because with especially tying in with Mysterio stuff like that. I'm kind of thinking that this is some kind of like, oh, that he's not really a demon, but rather just an elaborate,
hoax,
doing some kind of it's elaborate hoax thing or something like this. It's basically he's pulling a Mysterio on Mysterio essentially. But I think so. I was kind of thinking my crazy idea was that Kindred was actually Carly Cooper, but then the whole thing, but then in fact he's influencing Peter's dreams, completely threw that out the window, and kind of like I'm like thinking now I'm really kind of
JR, would you be upset if Kindred is Harry Osborn?
No.
Would you like that idea?
Yes.
Why?
Well, first of all, let me backtrack. I thought originally that Kindred, now that we know its name, was originally female because of the way he, I guess, got so upset over Peter involving the Black Cat in one of his adventures or whatever. It just kind of seemed like a sisterhood thing. How dare you bring her into this and drag her into your hell, and plus seems to, not want Mary Jane to get hurt. But and then just the way it was drawn, Kindred was drawn a couple of times. I thought it looked female, but apparently it's not. No, I see here Harry's another character who should have stayed dead, because they've just not done anything with him, really.
They haven't. They gave another kid and it changed his name.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, Liz is firmly in charge of quote unquote Alchemex Oscorp. Harry's not even in charge of that. He's just, nothing has happened, and to me, one of the Osborns needs to be dead. Okay, one of the Osborn, because that feeds the wrath and anger of the other Osborn. So, and again, I know the appeal I understand the appeal of my greatest enemy is my best friend, but I think Norman is just a better character. Norman is a bad guy. He's a bad guy through and through. Harry is a confused kid or a confused young man or whatever. But no, I wouldn't. And see, the way he talks, though, the way he refers to Peter as Pete, indicates, and I really never even thought about it being Harry until I read Dark Mark's article. So I have to give props. I have to give props to Dark Mark, because it never occurred to me. But usually sometime, if it were like someone like Ashley Kafka for whatever, who didn't know Peter Parker's identity, but people, I think she would call him Peter. Norman Osborn doesn't call him Pete. Or Norman Osborn calls him Peter.
Did Ben Riley ever call him Pete?
Well, that's why I'm saying somebody who knows him. That's why I'm thinking.
Yeah. There's a familiarity
because
there.
An aspect of Peter would call himself Pete.
But it's just what you did, just there's a seething anger, and who was angrier, except for the final scene or whatever, who was angrier at Peter Parker there, at the end of their life than Harry.
Well, that's kind of why I thought it might have been Carly initially, because we had that random appearance of Carly in an earlier issue, and then also she's called him Pete too, and also the Kindred's motivations here, it seems to be more about like Peter is the one who is ruining people's lives, so it doesn't. This person Kindred does not have a beef with like Mary Jane or any of the other supporting cast things like this. It's that this idea that the more people kind of seem to be involved with Peter Parker and Spider-Man, the worse off they are. So I think that's kind of, so again, it kind of shows
that feeds to Carly. Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
that's what would be on the cleanup tour.
I think another player we need to keep our eyes on is Nora Winters, because she's been popping up in and out with random frequency throughout Spencer's run, like picking up old journalist friends, and we don't know what she's doing, but I have a feeling that in some way they are connected, whether or not it's tangential or like direct. I think that's up to be discovered.
Adam in YouTube chat says, anybody remember the final adventure miniseries Tendril? Tendril looks like Kindred in rags to me. I don't remember that character.
And you asked Brad if you think Kindred has staying power.
Yeah.
I don't think so, and I'm going to explain why real quick. The problem is that Spencer is setting up Kindred very specifically for a long, drawn-out confrontation with Peter, whether or not it's psychological or physical, and that is going to culminate in a large storyline. Now, or I'm assuming, just because of the amount of attention this character has gotten. Now, when the character is finally revealed, or if there is a reveal period, the mystique of that character kind of loses impact going forward. So he's only really the appeal of Kindred being like this mass figure who's being slow burn developed over time kind of loses their impact after they've been unmasked. And so going forward, I don't think that Kindred would have the appeal of being put in a book like Doctor Strange or whatever other mystical books are out there, like the Asgardians.
Let's go over, before we wrap this show up, let's go over Peter, do you think it's related to One More Day or Harry or something else? Go ahead.
I think Kindred is maybe related more to Harry after reading Mark's review than One More Day. I think Spencer will address One More Day. Absolutely. I think that's coming up because we saw that in issue number 1 where Peter said there's something missing, and then the panel showed Mary Jane's hand where a ring finger should be. So
that implies the whole finger is missing.
Well, go ahead, Pete.
And then with that,
maybe I'm Kindred. I just called him Pete. If Kindred is revealed to be Harry, I can totally see Marvel their next crossover after Maximum Carnage or Absolute Carnage.
Absolute Carnage, yeah, whatever.
Totally doing a Mephisto-centric crossover.
Oh yeah,
because Mephisto, as we've talked about in these satellites, he's been popping up all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
He recently. Has anyone here read the most recent issue of Mark Waid's Doctor Strange run? Okay, so this is actually important. So this is kind of my proposal of how it's Mephisto related, is that in order to free Clea and Clea's mother from Mephisto's clutches, and this is Mephisto in a different hell, because Johnny Blaze is currently the current king of Big Hell, and there's all these little hells, and Mephisto is like the ruler of this small subset where Master Pandemonium has been in Superior Spider-Man. And so Doctor Strange visits Mephisto, and in order to free Clea and Clea's mother, he makes a small bargain with Mephisto, and the bargain is that as long as it doesn't involve death or someone dying, Strange owes him one favor.
Hold on.
Well, so did Loki.
Hold on. Wait. Didn't in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Strange warn Spider-Man not to make those kind of deals?
I made a joke about it on the Discord that Strange says, "No, Peter, don't make deals with the devil." And he just makes the exact same thing.
Oh wow.
But I think that that's important because I bet that Strange's favor is going to be getting Mephisto back in control of Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And take out Johnny Blaze.
And that sets up whatever the December related event is.
Yeah.
Because because Johnny Blaze is appearing in Avengers to do like the race through hell with Robbie Reyes. And so I think that's going to play.
I want Danny Ketch back. He's in this Absolute Carnage book.
He's on the cover of he's on Pat Gleason's promo for the 2019 season.
Cool. So we got Peter thinking it's related to Harry. We got JR thinking it's related to Harry, right?
Yeah, I'll throw my head in the Harry ring.
Mike, who do you think it's related to? Oh, One More Day, Harry, or something else?
I'm thinking something else.
Okay.
It's either I'm kind of still live with my Carly thing. I could be my out there thing is Mindworm again.
Well, someone mentioned in the YouTube chat, Mindworm. Paul Jenkins did kill him, but that doesn't mean anything.
That means nothing.
That's right. Yeah,
death is
death is meaningless in the Marvel universe.
Okay, we got 2 Harrys, something else. Neil, what are you?
I'm settling into the One More Day Peter camp.
1 More Day, okay. You're 1 More Day camp. I am also a 1 More Day camper. I suspect it's going 1 more day-ish. We will find out, hopefully. Are we going to find out in 25, or is it we're going to drag this on?
I'm assuming the 25 is going to be they said it's an MJ-centric story, so I think it's going to shed some light details and then kind of slow burn until the end of year 2.
Real quick, Terry Dodson had a cover of Mary Jane with what looked like a costume.
Like a cat hat.
Like a cat looking hat on the top of her. Peter, are we getting an Amazing Mary Jane book?
If we do, then I'm definitely reviewing that. I've already got the blessing from Mohammed to do that. So
Do we want? No, you got the blessing from me. What?
there's two crawl spacers on here that are really
I know.
focused in.
I know.
But Mohammed's been here on the crawl space longer than I have, so that's why.
I think Marvel would be dumb not to make a Mary Jane ongoing. They just
Well,
gave Black
DC has
Cat
done
one.
a great job with
Lois.
Lois Lane. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
The question is whether or not MJ has the selling power. And I know that people are going to we're biased and we'll say, "Oh yeah, MJ totally has the power to sell a book." But most of the Spider books, and those are characters who have like, I don't want to say staying power. They're already selling in the low 28Ks.
I don't want a Mary Jane with superpowers book.
No.
No.
And whatever is going to happen to her is coming up in the next couple of issues
Mhm.
that will set her up, I suspect, to her ongoing or miniseries or whatever. Does anybody want Mary Jane with powers? Do we want a Spinnerette? Is that what her name was?
I mean, it was fun during the Renew Your Vows, and that was
Red.
part.
It's kind of a gimmick thing. I don't want to say
Now it's a
gimmick.
gimmick.
But
And I mean, honestly, if they were going to do a Mary Jane miniseries, I would really want two people to write it. If Spencer couldn't do it, Gail Simone, I think she would do a really good Mary Jane, and that would sell. And Jody, I forgot her last name, but she's
Jody Hauser.
yeah, she should do the Mary Jane. And if Ryan Otley is gonna not do Amazing Spider-Man with Nick Spencer, I think who's that new artist coming in? Neil, who's
Pat Gleason.
him?
Oh, okay.
If he's going to be doing Amazing Spider-Man,
Well,
get
they're
Otley
working.
on
They're
the
working. They're working together. Otley is confirmed he's staying, and he's actually in the September solicits. And then Pat Gleason, I think, is coming in afterwards.
right. Well, whoever to just get someone that can follow through with the story. And I think that would.
Adam says that Mary Jane could be the Red Cat, which was the Mary Jane Black Cat variant on that cover. I don't like that.
My only caveat for Simone taking on a Mary Jane book would be make it a small book, like a 3-issue miniseries. Because one of my problems I've had with Simone's overall writing is that when you give her too much room to work with, she kind of has trouble filling in the blanks. So giving her limited room to work with gives her time to sharpen what she has.
Cool. All right, let's do final thoughts. JR, final thoughts.
Wow. Final thoughts was, I'm surprised that everybody thought I was going to hate Far From Home.
That was the last show. This is the review show of the comics.
This is the show. No, I'm looking forward to 25. Looking forward to 25. I do hope they resolve the mystery. Maybe not end the story, but I think if they draw it out anymore, it's going to
Give us a few more clues.
You're hoping it's an origin of Kindred?
Yeah, I hope they establish the identity of Kindred, and then if they want to, maybe wait for the final confrontation, that's fine. But I don't think they all draw the identity thing out any further.
Final thoughts, Neil.
This was a good month for Spider-Man. I'm waiting. I'm really looking forward to number 25.
Okay. Final thoughts, Peter.
Yeah,
Pete.
same thing. Speaking of Pete, Mary Jane did say Pete in this comic, but we're just going to throw that she's not Kindred because it's a he. But yeah, it's a good month for Spider-Man. I'm really looking forward to 25.
I've never asked you this. Did your parents like Spider-Man and name you Pete? Peter?
No.
You're not named after any famous Peter from history. Okay. It just kind of worked out. Your famous, favorite hero is also named Peter.
Yeah.
My name Brad is a jerk in Far From Home. Didn't work too well for me.
Brad the Chad.
Is there any other Brads in the Spider-Man lore, JR?
But no,
jerk
heavy breathing intensified.
But I was actually, when I saw this Brad the douchebag in the movie was named Brad, it reminded me of Brad in Superman 3. Wasn't like Brad?
The guy that dated Lana.
That was actually what I was thinking when I saw his name.
You didn't think of me. I'm glad.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of other very negative things that bring you up, but not that one. No, I actually that was what I was thinking of, was that there was some kind of homage to that character in Superman 3, and then I saw that it's actually a riff on that one character that appeared in 188.
That's funny.
Mhm.
Final thoughts, Mike.
Well, I'm kind of very piked about see what Amazing Spider-Man 25 or is it now 826?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, hopefully we are going to get some answers, and I kind of agree with JR. I do not want to see this Kindred thing drag out. I do not want to see it become another like Hobgoblin mystery where it goes on for like, and they like,
Odd.
yeah, it's like, yeah, we find out like, it's where Rogers but I think Spencer knows who this guy is, and I think he's definitely setting things up. So hopefully we'll get some much needed more intrigue, and even if it doesn't get answers, it will still be a good story coming up.
Yeah,
so.
it's been a fun ride till now, I think.
Mhm.
It could land flat next issue. We don't know.
Yeah.
We will find out soon enough.
Good way to close year one.
All right, that's a wrap on that one. YouTube, thanks for watching, everybody. We've been doing this since 8, 9, 10, 3 hours now.
Yeah.
So for the ones that have stuck with us all this time, I appreciate it. I will get these 2 episodes as fast as I can. JR, you and George and I hopefully do some spider histories and fight clubs next week.
Okay. For George's revenge. JR,
George's I don't know. I have to alert George to listen to the very end of that Far From Home podcast.
I caught the very end, and
oh my God,
I had to pee.
Congratulations, JR! You made Peter pee.
Now here's the thing. But was any of it wrong or a mischaracterization?
The only problem that I had with it was George does not sound like Norman Osborn.
I saw that someone wrote no Texas accent, but I couldn't have done the Texas. I mean, I was trying to do it real fast, get it through, get the joke done. I could not have done the Texas accent.
My favorite comment after we wrapped it up, someone wrote in, "Now do Zach."
Here's the thing. Neil, you and I are going to have to face the wrath of George next Monday when we go for our sessions.
JR, I'm kind of disappointed because while you're doing your George impression, I wanted to ask you, hey, George, how's your Necro sword coming along?
I don't know what that means.
Adam in YouTube chat says he sounded like J. Jonah Barrowman.
Well, at the very end, I said this is J. George Barrowman. I don't know.
Oh, you did? That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap. Gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Thank you,
All
everybody.
right.
Good night.
Good night, guys.